gamers, we are here, finally, actually gonna play AD&D. I just wanted to give a quick intro saying, setting the scene. I have tea. I'm playing by candlelight and monitor light, I suppose, technically. I got all my dice, I reorganized all my D&D equipment, and I am so excited to start. Basically, what we're going to be doing in this video, I'm not sure how long it's going to turn out, but for my own sanity of organization, I'm going to edit it as I go. So we're going to still be doing the Haunted Halls of Evening Star, and I think we're going to start with this side campaign to just see how things go, because we can hop right into this. This has a hook and everything, and so I've chosen this one. I found Dungeon Magazine number 18 here, and this is written for 4 characters, and right now we only have the one. So oh no, we have to make more characters, but oh no, I've already I'm gonna do that. And so I'm gonna time lapse through making these characters. We'll roll the stats. I will add any comments along the way that I think about. But yeah, other than that, prepare for time lapse and future Michael speaking to you while making these characters and thinking about how to introduce them. But we're gonna need at least 4. I'm thinking 5. Because let's be honest, this is my first time. This setting is, or this rule set is going to be a little bit more challenging than 5e, if I had to guess. And based on my research, that is also the case. And yeah, I mean, it says 0 level PCs could be used. We could, I mean, this is, this is the most important text right here, is telling us what we're going to build. And so I definitely want to make a druid, because druid is my favorite class. I would like to make a bard, because bard is really cool in 2e, and then I'll try and make a wizard. We'll see what kind we exactly want to do based on what we roll. So without further ado, time lapse. All right, so using, let me pull it up. Method 1, this is the method that we used. We just rolled 3d6 and then did it in order. That's what we did. We did method 1. There's only few. This is what makes it valuable. This is what makes the cool characters cool, is that this is, in my opinion, that's what makes the characters special. And so it's really a treat to play characters who have 17s like we rolled, but we got like a 6 in charisma. So based on this, we cannot be a druid because we need 15 charisma, but we can be a kick-ass cleric. Technically, we could also be a thief. Alright gamers, here I am, future Michael here, editing the video. I am doing a lot of different things here in this video, putting a little bit more effort into the editing, as you can probably already tell, just due to the nature of how I have to record this. It's gonna be different, it's gonna sound different, and it's just gonna be a fluid kind of thing, but hopefully I'm gonna try and stick to this format and just have it evolve as I go. But essentially, we rolled really well, at least on wisdom, and so, but we did not roll well on charisma, so we could not be a druid. And so I go over here just thinking about like what multi-classing looks like, and it's essentially we're gonna split XP between 2 classes, but we can earn XP for doing things related to both classes. And so it's kind of like a trade-off. Like you're earning half as much for your class, technically, but at the same time, you have twice as many opportunities to earn XP. And so, it, in theory, balances out if you're a good role player, which I hope to be. And so, essentially, in 2nd edition D&D, there's a lot more XP rewards based on things that are tropes to your class, and that is very much emphasized in the PHB, in the DMG, in this version. And so, let's say that you're a fighter, or a barbarian even, and you have to break down a door. You would get XP for using your athletics, essentially, using 5th edition terms, to break down this door because that is your trope, that is your role for the party, and you're fulfilling that role. Alright, hopefully that makes sense. And now I will turn you back over to past Michael for a second. As far as I understand, it's beneficial to multi-class because you can, although your max level is going to be restricted, you can kind of... Alright gamers, since we're not playing a human, we can't dual class. And we'll basically get into that next time we roll a human that can dual class, I guess. Something of note, I made a small resolution, like it's New Year's, but for this campaign I'm going to try and use as many physical assets as I possess, because I spent the money, and gosh darn it, I'm going to use it. I got a little too lazy at the end of Tomb of Annihilation, using digital assets like digital dice rolls, but I reorganized all my D&D stuff, like I said, because I want to use as many physical assets as possible, which is partly why the video is edited as it is, because it takes time. Okay, so depending on what we want to do, we can be a cleric thief, correct? Yes. So we could be a gnome cleric thief. And that is it. Only gnomes can be cleric thieves, so guess what we're gonna be? We're gonna be a gnome. So here, gamers, I resolve that we must play a Smurf Neblin. I know it's Verve Neblin, but I like Smurf because kind of canonically they can sometimes have bluish gray skin. And I just wanted to have a brief intercession, hopefully addended later, about the universe I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using the Creation universe, which is of my own design. It's my own homebrew. I will try and update as much lore as possible in little segments as needed. I don't know what format I'm going to do that in, whether it'll be little sidebars, separate videos, maybe some kind of post somewhere where lore can be read if you are interested. But it's using a lot of it's incomplete, obviously, like all homebrew. And so I'm using some things from established Forgotten Realms lore, and other things I totally 100% scrap and throw out the window, as you will see. So just if you see something weird that doesn't fit Forgotten Realms canon, please forgive my homebrew intrudeness and bastardization of Ed Greenwood's baby. Thank you. Because Smart Devlin usually live in the Underdark. +1 to Wisdom, +1 to Dexterity, -1 to Intelligence, -2 to Charisma. So we'd have a 4 in Charisma, which would be fun to roleplay by just being a very toxic or socially awkward or yeah, we would have to think about it. But numbers, so they do get bonus abilities, I want to see what the restrictions are, if there are any. The main thing to consider for the creation setting is that I wanted to make it as adaptable to any kind of adventure that you wanted. If you wanted to do a pirate theme, you could do that. If you wanted to do a bureaucracy and corporation theme, like evil corporation theme, you could do that. I wanted to make a setting that wasn't bent on one specific genre. And there's a lot of, I have about 200 years of established canon that is fleshed out, and I look forward to sharing every single day with you. Gnome, Smurf, Neblin, Deep. Excellent. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. Combat. This is for role-playing them, but for now we want to see innate abilities. That's sweet. 120-foot infravision, period. And same detection. They speak their own dialect of Gnomish. That would be fun to roleplay. And they live shorter than... Yeah, look at that. Than rock gnomes. Understand a fair amount of Kotoan and Drow because they're from the Underdark. I do wonder if they have a king and a queen, which would be fun to roleplay. Stealth, cleverness, tenacity. Yeah, see? Thief. Okay, I don't even really want to see the other ones. Yeah, cheerful. I don't want to be a tinker gnome. That sounds more like Santa's workshop kind of gnome. I want to be a Swerve Neblin. So we have some things to fill in here. We'll figure out the name later. Let's do Gnome Swerve Neblin. And that's going to plug in all this stuff. Let's decide gender later. Alignment. As a cleric, we're probably going to have to follow the alignment of our god. And so let's look at some gnome deities, shall we? So this little sped up section, this is future Michael, next day Michael, by the way, because that was a little bit too late for me. I stayed up too late and was very tired at work the next day, which is today. Regardless, this section I kind of go on a small little rant. It was a rant about Wizards of the Coast's modern D&D as it applies to political correctness, and how you see. I'm not necessarily. Well, not necessarily. I'm not against making D&D a welcoming environment for everyone, but in my humble opinion, and in my homebrew, I choose to keep at least. First of all, it's important and dependent on your players, kind of what people are triggered by, and I always ask all of my players at the beginning, session 0, if they have any triggers, and I ask that even with returning players, in case they have returning new triggers, or are feeling particularly bothered by something that happened recently, because I want it to be a safe and welcoming environment. But other than those triggers, I will tell people, I try and make my universes realistic, and unfortunately, realism implies bigotry and just general. I try and draw out how art can imitate life, because in this creator's humble opinion, while it can be used as an escape, and I totally get that, and I don't think it should be like the main focus of the campaign ever. Um, I think it has a time and place because if it is not there, it being bigotry and prejudice in your setting, then it almost feels too fake. Like it breaks my immersion almost because it's like this is not how, intelligent creatures as humans can comprehend them interact with one another. And it feels just so strange. It's like those episodes of Star Trek where they go on these utopia planets, and it's just like so strange to see everyone getting along, you know? And so that's my 2 cents. But basically, as it applies to this character, Smurf Neblin in 2nd edition are kind of have traditional, shall we say, Western gender roles. About males are miners and blacksmiths and stuff, and females are gatherers and whatnot. We're going to kind of break that, and I will explain why live. So, modern D&D wouldn't really do this. That's a lot of the reason that Volo's guide was redacted, but I don't know, we could break Smurf Nevelin gender roles. Perhaps that's why they were cast to the surface, is because this female wanted to be a miner and a warrior and or a blacksmith. Yeah, I think that'd be cute. I mean, not, it's sad to think about, but I think that would be a cool thing to roleplay. And I think as far as alignment, what did their gods say? I don't think they said anything in specific about alignment. Let us see. So I think this is going to be our god, and what is Torque's alignment? I believe he is lawful. Okay, so he's lawful good. So he's kind of the I think chaotic good makes sense for a miner. They're a good person and they want to work hard and they want to better society perchance, but ultimately shiny rocks go clickety clack. Yeah. And it also would kind of track with this 4 charisma that we're gonna have and this 8 intelligence that we're gonna have. So they're very intuitive and kind of nature driven by their wise mind, if you will, and good with their hands and hardy, but not necessarily strong in the ways of the Force, intelligent in the ways of magic that is not innate or given to them by their deity. They're not a study magic. They didn't study their magic. They kind of just intuited it, if that's a word. And then they're not a very likable or affable person. Yeah. At this point, present / future Michael, depending on how you're looking at it, is, like I said, editing this video as he goes, and he realizes that this is approaching 20 minutes. And I think we're just gonna go as long as it takes to make one character. And, hopefully people are okay with that. If you would like shorter episodes split into multiple parts, please tell me. Thank you. Alright, let's look at gnome kits, shall we? At this point, we are going into the kits in the gnome book. We could also have looked in the priest book, but I decided to go with the gnome book. Kits, basically, in 5e terms, are almost like backgrounds, kind of. They're a little bit more build intensive. They still involve proficiencies and skills, kind of, essentially. But there's a little bit more to it, a little bit more implied, or even sometimes for some kids required role-playing restrictions and mechanical restrictions and or benefits um, that kind of guide you on your character. I would say that kits are almost like backgrounds mixed with the ideals and bonds and personality traits and all of that from 5th edition that you kind of can roll for if you'd like. They're like first level subclasses. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting, but they're a little bit more build intensive than backgrounds, and we decide to go with one that is all about rock and stone because we're going to be a minor. And look, most rock tenders are smart from Applin. Let's do this, rock tender. Get rid of that. I think this will be fun to kind of develop. Alright gamers, so this is very future Michael. I left like a little segment here as a conclusion so that I could wrap up and summarize exactly what we're doing. The rest of what you see is me picking out equipment, some proficiencies, and the like, which is pretty standard as far as I remember. The only thing that I remember is that because they are a cleric, they have to forfeit all but a couple gold pieces, a couple measly gold pieces, like a vow of poverty that they don't use. So I spent all that I felt was necessary and did a few proficiencies that I thought were going to be useful and also in character. But other than that, I didn't really have anything exciting to say. So here I am, filling in for past Michael. Basically, I wanted to say that I'm going to make 3 more characters, and we're not really going to start until then. So I think that looking in this video as it is, it's not even rendered yet, but I am very pleased with everything that I've done, and as I said in the Twig 4 that came out this morning, I really like this, the fruits of my labor. I'm going to try and aim for this, at least when it comes to, what I don't know. I'm going to try and aim for this, at the very least. And I hope to hold myself to that standard, and I hope that you hold me to that standard, anybody who's watching, because, as you can probably tell, there is a stark difference in audio quality because I spent a while fiddling with the mic and the settings and the layout and all of that. And there's a difference in editing. There's a difference in, the cuts, the voiceovers, this amount of time that I put into this video just for one character, and I hope that translates into how much I really care about AD&D and how much I care about making this a series. And so I hope that you will stick around. I hope that you find character creation as exciting as I do. I always love creating new characters and just serendipitously falling upon my next little loves that will either go far and do great, powerful things or die TPK level 1. And I love that process. But that's just me. So this is just a fair warning. The next 3 videos in this series, I guess this is 0.1 technically, because I wouldn't really call this a session 1 because we're not really playing. But, it's all part and parcel of the D&D experience. So expect 3 more videos like this, and 3 more brilliant, lovely characters to share with all of you. and then we will start to flesh them out together and really decide where to take this series. Thank you.